Hi guys. Okay, as you know, I had extensions and I removed the extensions because my hair, I'm allergic to them. Around my neck, everywhere that hair touched me, I started to itch really bad. I broke up in like rashes or hives and it was just horrible. So what I'm going to do now is add extensions with yarn, and I am going to layer or feather it to my face. The hair is not long at all. Last time I put yarn braids in, they were really long. I think it was like down here somewhere. It was really long and very uncomfortable for me to sleep with. And my neck was hurting and it was just uncomfortable. So now they're short and I will have no problem dealing with them. And I get really bored with my styles easily, so I am going to layer. I didn't want the long look with the one length. I didn't want that this time. It was kind of boring to me, so I'm just going to layer them. And I'm going to start the layering. I'm going to show you how I layered them. When you do your braids, especially in the front and the back also, if you want them to look full without actually doing a lot of braiding, what you can do is part it here, and you see where this part here is? The part is here, the next row up, the part is all the way over here. And the braid will just fall in between. And the same goes here. The part is here, the next part is, the part is down here, the row up, the part is over here. So you have to kind of like part unevenly. Don't just make one long part and then part across, because it's just going to look spacey. Okay, so to achieve the layering effect, the first row, these 4 braids here, well actually these 3 braids here, and it stops at the end of my eyebrow here, they're all one length. The next braid is a little longer. These braids over here are long. I parted the second row here, and they are the same length as the braids underneath, until it reaches the end of my eyebrow. That's my measuring point, the end of my eyebrow. And then I start to make the braid longer than the braid next to it. So when you're doing your hair, depending on how you want your hair to look, find the measuring point. I use the end of my eyebrow, and every braid going toward my ear is longer than the braid before it. And the same process here. This is the 3rd row, I think. This here is the same length as the braids underneath, and then the next braid next to it, to achieve the layering effect, is longer than the braid next to it. So to sum it all up, the braids underneath, make 2 rows, depending on how thick you want your hair to look, make 2 rows the same length. Like these 2 rows are the same length. And then find your measuring point, mine is my eyebrow. Then you start to make that hair longer, those braids longer than the braids before it. And then you make your next part. If you want more fullness, you would, make them the same length as the one underneath. And then find your measuring point. Mine is my eyebrow, then I begin to make them longer than the braid before it. But for me, the 4th row, I begin to make them longer than the ones underneath. So these are the 2 rows, these are the same length almost. And this row here, it's a little longer. So, you can do it the way you like, and I'm going to continue the layering process on this side, and all the hair, like the hair here, this, that, all of these are like doorsteps. They're just longer than the one before it. And you can make them longer, extremely long, or just a tad bit longer, depending on the style that you want to achieve. So that's how I'm going to do it on this side, and I hope I explained that well. I probably did, but I hope you understand what I was trying to say. Okay, so I inserted a braid here, and it's going to be short like this. And I cut the 2 strands off from this here to recycle this little piece of yarn, and I'm going to put that right on top of it. And I'm just going to braid that in. Okay, so I braid that in, and because this is really short and my hair ends up here somewhere, I'm going to take some hair that I cut off of the yarn strands before burning and just tie that on to make a knot so that when I burn it I won't have any complications. Because sometimes when you don't tie the knot, I mean, it's really annoying trying to get the burnt ends to stick. So I find if I tie a knot, it's much easier for me that way. So here it is. It's this. So this is short and then this is longer, and I'm going to continue to do more layers, and I'll show you guys as I go along how I'm doing it. I don't really want to sit here and actually braid in the camera because it's going to go over 10 minutes like I said before, so yeah, I'll come back and show you. Okay, hi guys. Okay, so I finished the layering process here on this side. So what I did was take a little section in the front that I wanted to be layered, and I just started to layer. This one is small, the one on top is a little longer. No, I'm sorry. This one up here is short because of how I want it to fall, and one underneath was a little longer. This is longer than the rest, and everything from all of the hair then on is a little longer than the one before it to achieve that layering look. I'm not going to layer any more on this side. Everything is just going to be all one length. I don't want to overdo the layering because this is my first time doing it, and I want it to come out cute. And on this side, because it's not full right here, I'm going to layer just this section, and I'm done with the layering on this side. And everything else is just going to be braided in all one length, and I will come back and show you guys the results.